Now to the fun stuff.
Okay, so here's our recap on December and January. I'll kind of go over what I have and then Malachi will do anything he missed. He's good at that, or that I missed, he's good at that. We got some sports updates, some updates about FFA, which is the strength. Some winter activities, the winter assembly, and then we had a fitness concert. Boys basketball and both girls basketball are 1-0 in the league right now. Boys are 4th in the state, girls are 19. And then our boys and girls wrestling have a tournament on Saturday, it's a youth class. And then our senior Tyler Whitson achieved 1,000 career points last week, which is exciting.
Not really, but that's been a lot of fun. Mr. Jones has been out, so I've stepped in and announcing the boys basketball. And it's been really cool because, I mean, mom's always done girls, I've always seen them do. And so it's been really fun to kind of learn how to announce basketball because it's different than the other sports. So that's been a lot of fun. And Tyler, man, it's great.
And then for FFA, they're working on a project with Carnation Bloom to start making flower baskets in February for the black market. And then they have some competitions coming up. Mr. Doyle is taking 2 students to a mock job interview competition tomorrow, which is something new for them. He's excited about that. And then they're also participating in a lot of new contests. They have a public speaking one coming up. And then they had a soils competition that they got 3rd in, which is also a new thing for them. And then the state convention is in March. We're preparing for that. There's about 15,000 people going to that. And then he's excited because they're growing a lot. They have about 15 members, which is larger, much larger than it has been in the past few years. Ready for that. Just have some updates about sources of strength. They meet every week or once a week at school. And then they're starting a new campaign district-wide to promote inclusivity. I didn't really get a ton of details about that, but that's what I was told. I can try and find more information about that next month for you guys. We have this video. So we had the Underground Spirit Week the last week before holiday break. That was fun. It took a lot of students a while to catch on to. I was behind them to make this video, so it was funny to see the teachers be like, "How did you know about that?" Felt like I wasn't on a big secret. And we had a winter assembly. Was it the Friday before break? We had a staff versus students snowball fight with fake snowballs, and then we had a few lucky students pie teachers.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Snowballs, we had fake snowballs that we brought in, about 80 of them. And we had teachers versus the seniors, and so they got to compete and had a snowball launcher that Mr. Martin stole and helped the staff, I guess, win. But it was a lot of fun because we put Christmas lights on the outside of the court to illuminate it, so then we could shut off the lights, and it was really cool there. And the students did high teachers. I think it was Miss Collins and Stifler, yeah, that got pied. That was a lot of fun.
How did they get chosen?
It
Was it
was,
student vote?
yeah, student vote. It was in a Google Classroom the morning of, it was put out, all the seniors got to vote what senior they wanted for the season. So we drew 3 of them, and they got to come down. They didn't know who it was until the assembly, so they got called down out of the blue and got to buy whoever they wanted. So,
Awesome. That was a lot of fun. And then lastly, today we had a school-wide lesson on inclusivity. promote, inclusively promote it. And then we had, I guess you can't really see them very well, but we had these boards and we had students make, ideas of what would make an inclusive environment. And so those boards are like collaboration, students in the classrooms, student examples of them. You can't really see what they say, but you get the idea. Anything else about that?
No,
That's all I have.
I guess the one thing that I is we said at the concert, we did have.
Oh, yes, I meant to touch on that.
You're good. That was, I went to that and they had the teacher assistant from the U of O actually conduct a whole song for the band, which was really cool. So he got up there and worked with the whole thing. And I felt like that should be shouted out because that was really cool to watch. And I didn't know we had a TA from the U of O in the band room. So I learned that and it was really good. He did a really good job. So I don't know his name.
I've not heard of it.
But he's cool. He did a good job.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. You guys did such a great job. Thank you. We appreciate it. And then. Board appreciation.
Presentation.
Presentation. Okay.
Okay, so January is Board Appreciation Month. And I'd like to thank each of you, each board member, for the sacrifices that you make to serve the Creswell School District. You take time from your families, personal activities, and your work to volunteer on the board and attend school events and activities. Your service to the community provides an excellent example of citizenry for our students to observe and other citizens to emulate. As superintendent and the chief officer of the district, I commend you for excellent leadership, and I'm honored to serve on the senior leadership team for the district with each of you. I sincerely thank you for all that you do for our kids. Bethany can't be here tonight, but she coordinated a district-wide collaboration on a board appreciation presentation, and so we want to show you that.
She did have a script she'd like us to read, so Marilyn and I talked to Corinne, and she wanted.
In the heart of our community, there's a group of dedicated individuals who work tirelessly behind the scenes, making decisions that shape the future of our schools. They're more than leaders, they're family. And this month, we're saying thank you in a way that's as big as their hearts. So sit back and enjoy as we present Boardroom Full of Hearts, starring some very special students as the amazing members of our school board. Because in our schools, every decision starts with care, and every leader brings their heart to the table.
Well, we will share this out to you guys and post it as well, so it's a fun thing. Now, Marilyn, starts almost instantly.
That's a super creative idea.
Yes, that's very fun.
Is that your elementary school leadership class? Even the Bethany.
That's great. Yeah, well, thank you for putting this together. Up next.
You have my report of my activities. And any questions on the monthly activities for December? Or any of the highlights on the bond projects?
question I had, and I'm sure we'll talk about it at some point, is where we are in the CTE building.
Right, I can mention that now. if you
Yeah.
like. So the CTE building has been, in the hands of our designer. And, the Rob is its name. And so we've been meeting to design, or come up with a design for it. He has put together a model, or built a model of it.
Okay.
And now that, as today, just today, moved to the engineering department. So they're going to engineer the prints of it and then send that to us, and then we'll review those for some other decisions or things that need to be changed or modified.
Is that when we'll look at the size again?
Then we'll see how it looks on paper with the full engineering. My highlight, I'm sure that most of the people, all the people at the high school are pleased that the seismic project has been complete, and all of the contractors are off the campus now, other than the painters coming in when they can. So that's where we are there, and it's been quite a project this year on building number 1. And we're in planning phase for building number 2. We met with the contractor ZCS right before the break, and had a discussion with them on how we wanted to move forward with the seismic improvements of building number 2, and how we would like to coordinate and collaborate with some design on some of the renovations over the road with an architect. So that's where we are with that building. Both buildings are moving forward.
And it looks like we have the cooler bid for the middle school. How are we feeling about it?
Bill?
Yeah, actually, we just, fresh news as well for today. We have 2 different legal counsel reviewing a contract with the vendor that we're using. We just got back word from our primary legal counsel that the contract actually is really quite good, because the contract is generated from the vendor first. And that actually speaks well to the vendor, because sometimes they like to sneak things in. This one didn't. He actually thought it was actually really well clean, protects us, protects them. The other legal counsel that's reviewing is our PACE insurance folks. They're reviewing it. I'm waiting for a word from them. So as soon as we get that back, then we'll work with Mike, and I'll work together to get that signed in that project. We have some preliminary stuff already happening, but the ink hasn't dried yet on the signature on the contract. But he's already lined up a chiller in Southern Oregon. So the nice thing about that is he's located a chiller in Southern Oregon that actually is in Oregon and accessible, ready to be put in. So the contractor is confident that he can get this done before the summer. I was shooting for the fall heat that affects the middle school, but we could actually have air conditioning in there by June. So that's really quite impressive.
And so we're going with the idea of one. At one point, we talked about multiple on the top of the building.
Yeah, we're going back to the actual, we're modifying slightly the original plan of what was, and I'm talking the original plan from 2006.
Sure.
But the chiller and the idea that it incorporates cooling for the entire building.
So the
One
first,
central location.
the first estimate, you're right, the first estimate that came out to us, or estimates, was over $1 million.
Right.
So about 1.1, and this one, after going through the process, we came in and it's at about
755,000 and some change, and in the contract, he actually states that he's not gonna go over that, he's not gonna exceed that. And verbally, in talking with this gentleman, he actually has already said that he's hoping to save us money. He looks at us being a long-term partnership. He likes to work with schools. He does this a lot. It's a company out of Roseburg. And so he's already looking at ways to actually bring that money down. He's not going to exceed that amount, but he's hoping to actually go below it.
Okay. Great.
One quick thing that I saw, so I know that we've got the permits and everything done and the dugouts. Will they be done before we start? Is everything there will be finished?
They could,
That was for
the
Candace.
dugouts could be done within the month, depending on the weather, but for sure by spring.
And the
Yeah.
cages.
Everything.
In the cages? See, I've never done that.
I was trying to be nice. Not ask about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just curious, because I mean, we moved very quickly, but I just wanted to know if that stuff would be ready.
Mhm.
That's awesome.
For the metal, so I thought the bleachers were up, sorry, I have a lot of questions about buildings, you know this. the bleachers are up. Is the goal to leave those metal handrails in the middle of the two sets of bleachers? Those black?
Yeah, we actually have to do that. That's an insurance requirement.
Okay,
Yeah. I think at one point, there was a memo about that for bleachers that we were never affected by that. The Pace sent out, I think 6 years ago, there was a school district that a person fell off because they didn't have those, and they
yeah.
were very clear about that. Those have to be there.
But they have to be in the middle?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
it says they can use them to walk up.
Yeah, there's space there. If you
Okay,
didn't
that's
have
why,
one, there would
because
be-
they're
yeah.
not one solid thing.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. That's all.
Mike, with the doors, for both the elementary and the high school, the security doors and the locks, I see those are out to bid. What is the estimated timeline? Would all that be done prior to the end of the school year, or are you waiting for the summer to do some of that? Especially probably for door replacement, that's a summer project, you're getting bids and getting ready.
When we move over to the high school, yes, this could be done spring break.
And that would be changing all the card, right?
Car keys and changing all of the wood doors in this building, or changing all of the wood doors that are on the interior doors that are hollow, the solid doors and steel casing. So
Does that make them fire doors?
That does make them a fire barrier.
So is that all the interior doors in these two hallways that will be replaced?
And the front doors here will be steel. They'll switch these out for metal out here in front. And so, yeah. And that door will be metal too.
And the high school, what doors will those be when we get over there?
All of the perimeter doors will be metal doors.
Okay.
And they'll all have code and, code locks on them. You'll have to have a code to get in, the code
That'd
assigned
be
by
nice.
Joel.
Yeah, and we're actually, as an FYI, that includes our other part of our facilities, our turf fields. At the middle school, they just finished up electrical needs for that, actually, as of yesterday. And then the high school is scheduled to be started up next week. The equipment hasn't been installed yet, but you have to do a lot of preliminary work to get the ability to put the equipment on the gates. So we will be able to allow for facility users access to our spaces through a code or a proximity card versus a key that can get lost or duplicated or something like that.
And then you can turn that off, right? when
And you can
go
even turn it off. The really great thing about this is that by having all three facilities, including our turf fields, managed under one umbrella of a system, which is what we're going towards, is we'll be able to look at logs and event logs, and we'll be able to change programming on the fly for all three facilities without having to go to each facility. And we can also remote them in and look to see. So if I have an incident call from the sheriff's office and they want to know what activity there might have been or what may have been into the building, I could look on that, look at the log from anywhere and be able to tell them that it looks like the last person entered was this code, which what happened.
That's awesome. Are we gonna need a policy for that? We're probably gonna need both an employment policy and a community policy, right?
Mhm. For security.
Yeah. Then rules around sharing the key cards. and everything.
Yeah, no, yeah, one rule.
No sharing, there's no sharing.
It's not. See, it's hard.
Yeah, no sharing. Well,
Thank you, Joel.
Yeah, thanks, Joel. That was great information from you. And thank you, Joel. Any more questions for anybody? Awesome. All right, so next is our public comment, and we do have one person for public comment tonight, and so I'm gonna read my little spiel. There's one individual registered to speak this evening. Speakers may offer objective criticism of district operations and programs, but Oregon law prohibits the board from hearing complaints concerning district personnel. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. We'll give you a signal, Candace will do that, when the 3 minutes is up, so you may finish your thoughts. When I call your name, you state your name and community of residence and share your comments. Please direct your comments to the board. Do not address questions to the board. The board's goal for public comment period is to listen to your concerns, comments, and opinions. The board will not respond to your testimony. So, thank you for having us here. Please comment.
Is it okay if I printed one out for everybody and I will do my best to enunciate? Well, if you print it out for 3 minutes, then at least you can finish. All right, now let's get. Do you have a preference where I stand?
Wherever you're comfortable.
So, yes.
Yeah,
That's good.
yeah,
Yeah.
we're okay with that.
That makes me feel better. Okay, my name is Stacy Hartman. I have a 14-year-old freshman and a 16-year-old sophomore that both attend Creswell High School. I wanted to speak to the school board regarding an incident and how it's been handled and the lack of communication from the school. I hope we can improve communication and school safety so it never happens to another student. On the morning of Friday, December 13th, at approximately 8:25 in the morning, my 14-year-old son Braden was hit by a car. Sorry. The impact caused him to fly back about 5 to 10 feet, landing on the ground and injuring him. I've had a lot of frustration and anger with how the situation has been handled and with the lack of communication from the school. We feel like the school failed our child when he needed them and is continuing to fail him. It feels like because Braden was not killed, paralyzed, or hospitalized, that this incident is not being acknowledged and is just being moved past like it never happened. The elementary and middle schools both have multiple staff in the parking lot in the mornings. It seems extremely negligent that the high school is not held to the same standard. There was no school staff outside when this occurred, even though, per my response from the superintendent's email, that staff supervision is assigned from 8:15 to 8:30. There were students and a parent who witnessed the accident and in their panic directed my children to go home and call me. My 16-year-old son Colton drove Braden home, called me at work to let me know what happened. In a high flow parking lot with heavy traffic, new drivers and pedestrians, there should have been a staff member outside who was trained how to respond to emergency situations to help facilitate the appropriate response and call 911. Again, it happened at 8:25. Staff is supposed to be out there till 8:30, but nobody was that day. As I rushed home from work, I got a call from one of the secretaries to check on Braden and see if he was okay. I told her I did not know how he was, that I was on my way home, and I had asked to get my child and was told they couldn't give me that information. After Braden was hit, I at no point received a phone call from the school telling me what happened, informing me that Braden was in an accident. I was only asked if he was okay. The people that day who informed me what happened were my children, the sheriff, when he came to the hospital and shared with me what the witnesses saw. When I got home, Braden was terrified. He was hurt, he was bleeding, and I took him to the emergency room. While at the hospital, the sheriff called, he came to the emergency room, and he gave me the information I needed about who hit Braden. Braden attempted to go to school the following Monday, but he was hurting, he was struggling emotionally, and he ended up going home early and he missed the entire rest of the week due to being in pain, doctor's appointments, and follow-up visits. I was in contact with the school secretaries via text message regarding Braden's attendance if he was missing school for doctor's appointments, and they would ask me how he was doing. At no point the day of the accident did the principal attempt at all to reach out to me or my husband personally to inform us what happened or to follow up on Braden. The vice principal was out of state when the accident occurred, and he didn't return until halfway through the following week, so I would not have expected him to reach out to me at all. It is extremely frustrating and inexcusable that the high school principal did not reach out to me personally regarding this incident for 6 days. It was not until Thursday the 19th that she sent me a text message to check on Braden. While I had been in contact with the secretaries regarding attendance and how he was doing, after an incident of this magnitude, I would have expected the principal to personally reach out to me with a phone call. Due to the lack of communication and care regarding the accident, I sent an email to the superintendent, the principal, and the vice principal on Monday, January 7th. School was out for 2 weeks, so I was waiting till the break was over.
I'm sorry to cut you off.
Okay.
I really am.
Okay.
Do you wanna kind of finish maybe
Like
your
your thoughts, like,
My
and then,
thoughts?
yeah, you wanna just, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Can I make a motion for today only to extend our normal
That is fine.
policy
That
of
is fine.
3 minutes?
Yeah, okay.
We'll
All
just
in-
extend
all
it
in
for
favor?
another 3 minutes
Yeah,
for
okay.
today only.
Okay. Great. long as we're following policy. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Where did I go? Okay. Well, let's see, so I asked superintendent to share my email with all of the board members. And I would be curious to know when the board members heard about the accident, if they knew that day, the next week, or if you even knew anything until I had requested that to be shared. I'm gonna pass through this really quick, but there was a message put out regarding a case of pertussis. My point being that it was a message put out, there were 2 pages attached to it. It was very specific, not naming a child at all. Yet when a student is hit by a car in the parking lot, there's not a message put out immediately, or even in a couple of days saying that a student was hit by a car. It could have been done confidentially and then followed with parking lot safety. I feel like if the situation is made personable and relatable, it has a way bigger impact and more people will pay attention to it rather than just a generic message about safety and a speed limit, which was sent a week afterwards. The lack of acknowledgement from the school about a student getting hit by a car is very disappointing. Not personally being contacted by the principal for 6 days is disappointing, and again, that was just a text message. I still to this day have not received a phone call from the principal. I have not spoken with her verbally about anything having to do with what happened. As parents, I hope you can put yourself in my position and ask yourself, how would you feel if it was your kid and this is how it was handled? I really hope that the school and the district work on improving communication, what expectations are for school and parent contact after an incident, because 6 days is not acceptable. And no phone call is inexcusable. I hope everybody takes this incident seriously to improve parking lot safety, to prevent another phone call. If you've been in the high school parking lot, I think most of us have, it's not ideal. And there could be things to do to make it better. I like that 5 mile an hour signs have been put in. I like that they have teachers out there in the morning now. My suggestion is looking into a company that comes in and looks at your parking lot and tells you what you could do to make it better. Speed bumps in a parking lot to slow down students, just to hopefully prevent it again. Okay, I think that's fine. And then I'll end with how Braden's doing, because hopefully you would want to know. He's getting better. He's physically healing. He has neck pain and hip pain still. He has started to play basketball again this week. It's still a struggle to go to school sometimes, but he's doing better. Thank you. Sorry.
Thanks for sharing how
Yes,
he was,
thank you.
Stacy.
Thank you so much. And as always, if anybody wants to leave and not enjoy the rest of our meeting, you do not have to stay, but I mean, we're very enjoyable. So you feel free to stay if you want to. I mean, you don't have to leave, so I don't. So, all right, we have no unfinished business. We have new business. We have the audit report.
Oh, do I move to approve
They
the,
did the
yeah, sorry,
It's okay.
I wasn't paying that much attention. I move to approve the 2024 audit report.
I second.
Okay, all in favor? Oh, wait, I forgot the discussion part.
Just a huge kudos to Chanel for getting that done every year. I know it's a huge lift, so
Yeah,
please.
I even looked at the entire 94 pages. I felt pretty good about myself.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's a lot. of
It was
stuff.
a lot
Okay,
of
kudos
information.
to Chanel,
I was
because
like,
that's.
yes.
The thing
That was
is,
a lot.
we all get to, during winter break, we get some really big time off if we need it, if we want it. And, you know, most of our district is off, but she's not able to take that time, and spring break she's in with the audit as well, with the second off of the year, so.
And budget prep.
And then the budget takes after this until spring break, and so, yeah, it's a long year, but yeah, she does a good job.
Oh, I appreciate it. Does anybody have any questions about that? Or do you think it's self-explanatory?
It was pretty clear.
It was clear. We are doing well. All right. Next thing is information from Mike.
Yeah, just, as customary each year, I send you the letter of approval from ODE for Division 22 standards. So just to let you know that we're in compliance with what the state requires and expects us to do.
Great. And kudos to you, Mike, because that's also a big undertaking. So thank you. That's a plus there.
All right, and then we have information on inter-district student transfers.
Annually, I let you know when the first semester is coming to an end, and that will be at the end of this month. And we have open transfers, we're open to all transfers, we have no caps through the first semester. But we end transfers the second semester, unless a family moves and a student wants to stay in the district and finish the year, and then they can apply for a transfer for the next school year.
Do we vote on that? Have we voted on that before?
No,
We have, if you're thinking really long term,
No,
because
I
it
heard
used
we
to be
used
a
to vote on
policy where we had numbers per grade, but since it's a lot easier, just like,
Okay.
yeah. So that may be what your memory's
Yeah.
telling you.
I was like,
the other difference.
Okay, I'm getting older.
When we went to this policy, I explained to you that, you know, if we are able to get our student in for ADM for the year, it's the first semester. When we take them in the second semester, there's no ADM that comes to us to support that student for the year. The primary district that they were in for the first semester has already received the ADM.
all right. And then we have a discussion item about board member.
Yeah, so, we're at that time of the year where we start to schedule your visits to the schools, any schools that you like, all of them. And with the way things have been going in January is kind of like a rush time to get it done. So in looking out, you know, a little bit, February, March, April, would there be a month that you would see that, you know, would work better out, you know, would it be before spring break, after spring break? And then I can start working on a schedule with principals. Anybody have a preference or any?
I don't. I'm fine either way.
So the regular visits, I don't have a preference. I love taking me up on them when they're offered. With the, this goes into a little bit of what I was gonna share under the trustees report with our advocacy. With the focus on the legislature potentially being around special education. I don't know if it would be helpful. Cause I talked with you about this last week. I would love to get with Amy and like get some more specifics. And Amy reached out to me via email. But in terms of a physical visit, could we put together one that focuses on special education? So we have a little, like maybe that would make sense. If I'm the only one, I'll do it whenever Amy's available.
So, yeah, you can, if you wanna make that arrangement, we can select the dates. That
I
you
just
wanna
didn't
do
know if
that.
others would want to join, so then it would be coordinated versus just me and Amy. That was,
Well, and Amy knows the procedure, what's in contract is that we have to, the school, the staffs know.
Yep.
In advance when the visits, when a board member is gonna be visiting the school.
okay. Are others interested in seeing like a focus of special education? Because if there is, then maybe afterwards we can just get some dates that work for us to Amy. Otherwise, it'll just be me and Amy.
I would be interested to see and going with you.
I'd like to do it too.
Okay, and if we get, can we do a school visit with more than three of us, a quorum to make it easy?
Yeah, less than a quorum.
Less than a quorum, so we can't do more than a quorum for a school visit, okay?
Yeah, as it is, I don't care.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and I probably.
Okay. Okay, 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 all right,
Okay,
that's it, thank you.
okay, and then I'll come back to you in February and we'll. And, you know, we'll be in testing mode here pretty soon,
Yeah.
so I'll look for a window. when we get in, because it starts in February, so I'll look for a window with the principals and I'll come back to you with some weeks.
Great.
We can go from there. Okay, good. Thank you.
Did we approve a new health curriculum last year?
No,
Are we going to next year? Wait,
Yes.
Are we doing one?
yeah,
It's not this year, it's next year.
This year.
This year.
Well, it's this year on the docket,
Yeah.
however, previous board meeting in the fall, we did sign the information with ODE saying we may defer to next year, just giving us that flexibility.
and ODE themselves are really wanting a little more time to put out their approved curriculum as well, because it's very limited out there. Amy's been working with the Language XD group on that, with the other, along with all the other districts, and so, you know, it's kind of, we'll get there, but
I was just thinking it'd be nice to do a school visit around seeing new curriculum being used or how it's going in certain groups. And we just did science, right? Or we just did math this year, we did science last year or 2 years ago.
Yeah, not
Yeah.
science, elementary is gonna finalize their science hopefully the next month or two.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Okay, thank you.
Good idea. Then. All right. How do we get to trustee report? Mike Anderson,
Yes, ma'am.
trustee, yeah, we can do report.
Good. The only thing I've done is been to a couple basketball games, and they were, especially the one where the last night was really fun. They've got a pretty good team, and I'm amazed at how the games change over the years. Those kids are running their tails off. Guys and the gals, and it's not a sport for faint of heart. I'm finding out, but that's about all I've done, that and worked.
I've just gone to lots of wrestling. That's all I've done. I've been to a couple basketball games. That's all I've done. And I agree, it is, they say it's not a contact sport, but watching them, their basketball, it's very aggressive.
It is, it's.
To follow up on the advocacy part, so I've got some general thoughts down around, I'm going right to specifics, big picture. The actual topic,
And it's not on here. You had a thought, I thought it was Lacey's.
it's okay, I'm happy to update here.
Yeah.
So, as a reminder, one of the topics that may be moving forward to an actual bill, and that's our hope, is the lifting of the special education reimbursement cap from 11% to something lower. So, Mike got me started on a draft letter that we could approve as a board to send up to all of our legislatures, both on the House and the Senate. And so I added some thoughts around, I mean, this is where I'm kind of stuck because of my schedule, not because of Amy's. She's been super available. But I wanted to add some like graph and data and some specific things for Creswell, to let them know like this is the real impact to our students. So I did not, just with my daily workload, I didn't have a chance to follow up with Amy. I was hoping to get something for us to review tonight, but it's not there. I'll finish it up and then I'll watch if that actually moves forward into committee. We'll want to move forward, so I'll contact leadership if we need, like, can you guys, like, can we do a quick special vote so that this can be sent out as a board? If it doesn't move forward before the February meeting, it'll just come in the February meeting. So,
I asked our lobbyist
Yes.
at COSA about that, about the timing of that, and he said February would be fine.
sweet, okay,
So,
okay.
don't be
I worried a
rushed.
little bit as I was going to sleep, like darn it, another day and I didn't get anything done.
Yeah, they're
So,
still in
a little more time to
session
be
prep
helpful.
right now, so.
Yeah, I just didn't know how fast that was gonna be moving, so that's sweet news. Okay, so more to come on a board approved letter that will also have some good data in there for us if we want to go and testify at a committee, if it makes it there. So that's the hope.
Thank you for putting it together.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's it for me.
Do you have anything to report?
I do not.
Okay.
I also have little, we've had the leadership meeting. I have not gone to a basketball game, but I've watched them on TV at home, on NHS or whatever it is. And I watched a wrestling meet, from the comforts of my own, so. Hopefully more by next month.
Want to go to Sligo Soul with me on Friday?
I thought about it, that's a good tournament that Nick, Nick Wood's tournament's a good tournament. I worked it when I was in high school.
I have leadership, canvas with that too. But I did get to do, really fun thing. Carl and I spent about 4 hours helping Katie from the resource center. And we delivered a ton of things to some of our families. Which I got to see a lot more of Creswell that I didn't know existed. I got lost, I was glad I had my navigator, so we got to do that. And then I did help with the little kids, wrestling. And, which is always fun to watch.
Little kids wrestling.
They're so fun, like there's like this big, when they wrestle, they don't really wrestle, they kind of run around, sometimes they run from each other, which is actually the most fun thing to watch. And it's like, oh, no, actually I changed my mind, I don't know what to do this, Mom, stop yelling at me. So, yeah, so that's about all I have. But that's it.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Is there another wrestling meet here in town at our
Yes.
school this year?
Please.
I think- I think-
Well, there's, yeah,
I'd
there's
really
a
like
couple
to
of
go.
tools. We don't have a big meet here for the high school, need work.
Be a little kid, whatever.
Oh, I don't know about the map. I don't know.
Oh, okay, yeah, but I'd like to approve one. We've got a really good wrestling coach now, and I think the kids are having fun.
They are having fun.
Oh, like, well, I'll tell you this like that.
Or later, or just next year or something. I'd love to see one.
Sure, I'll put in the schedule.
Okay.
All right, anything else that we could have the order? Yeah, Mike does.
An idea for something to discuss the next time. I would like us to kind of extend the conversation that the young lady that talked to us tonight had for a couple of reasons. I'm not throwing rocks at anybody, but I really think we really ought to, I've seen a copy of what's going on now, and I think it's great. But a kid getting hit like that kind of scares me, but the thing that gets to me is last night we were going to the basketball game, and here's these 3 kids, guys walking in front of us, and they're saying, oh, 5 miles an hour. I knew right away what they were talking about. I'm laughing their head off. And then today I was coming home, coming down Main Street when the school was out, and there was a young kid, and I think he was in a middle school. Well, I don't know how old he was really, but he had one of those scooters where you're on your feet, and it's electric, where it goes pretty fast. Coming down Main, and he came way out in my lane, and I went over in the other lane to get away from him. And I thought, he's gonna get hit, and I honked at him, and the first thing he did was look at me and flip me off and just keep going. And I'm not saying that he should get stepped on or really get in trouble, but there should be, I don't know, maybe we should take the next step. Maybe whoever does something needs to know there's some consequences. And again, I'm not trying to be a hard nose or just, I wonder if we should talk that over, because it's not, accidents are gonna happen, but maybe the kids, there's a lot of kids that they should know, hey, you've got to act like an adult when you're driving. And these kids, when they've got all their buddies in the car yelling at them, or they've got their phone. I saw a young lady one time pull at the stop sign out there going on 5th. She was doing her eye makeup, talking on the phone and driving at the same time. I've driven for 60 years and I can't do that. But I wish we could have a discussion about that.
Yeah, well, we can talk about it in leadership and come up with something with Mike. That sound good? All right, we will do that. All right, next meeting is February 12th. So we'll all be here. Hopefully, it's nice for us all to be here tonight, and we're adjourned.